I've always loved whales. I had the Save the Whales bumper sticker, T-shirt from Greenpeace, and I had a lunch kettle with a picture of a sperm whale on it. Charlotte invited me over one night to her apartment. We sat across from each other, and our conversation was all about whales, for she loved them as well. It was getting late, and I asked her if she wanted to have sex, and she said it wasn't her mating season. So I laid down on her Davenport and I fell asleep. And I dreamed. I dreamed that I graduated from the University of Whaleology. I was highly respected and well sought after. And one day in my study, the phone rang. Ring, ring. It was the mayor from Catasauqua. And he said, "We have a whale that came ashore." So I grabbed my leather satchel of whaleology tools and I went down. And all about the whale were the townspeople, and they were crying, sobbing, and blowing their noses into blue and white kerchiefs, souvenirs from a rodeo in Wyoming. I turned to the whale. She looked okay on the outside, and I knocked on her big head as if it was a door, and she opened her eye. There was much sadness there. And I said to her, "I need to go inside to check out your innards. If that's okay," blink twice, and that's what she did. I get inside, and it was very squishy and quite dark. And from my leather satchel of whaleology tools, I secured my Shamu flashlight, a souvenir from SeaWorld. I got back about 30 feet, and I'm looking around, and I noticed something odd about her large intestine. And I instinctively knew that this was not a polyp. I went to it, and from my leather satchel of whaleology tools, I brought forth a vial of healing medicine. It was a gift from my Peruvian ancestors, and I applied it. And with a knife of Damascus steel, I opened her up. And there was her malady. She had swallowed a fishing pole. I extracted it, got her all wrapped up, and I exited. And I stood in front of the crowd of people. And I raised the fishing pole above my head. And I cast it into the sand at their feet. It lit a fire, and it turned to ash. They all murmured, "Ooh." I then turned back to the whale. And from my leather satchel of whaleology tools, I brought forth a wooden maraca. And I shook it, and I chanted, and the ocean came forward. It pulled and eddied around the great whale, lifted her from the sand, and took her out to sea. We waited in anticipation, and then it happened. From her blowhole, a stream of water shot to the sky. The sunlight embraced it, and it twinkled. Her friends joined her. There was much tail slapping and jubilation in the air. It was then announced that we should have a parade. And there I was on a decorated float. I was being pulled about the streets of Catasauqua with an Alice Chalmers 160 farm tractor. And all around me were the ladies from the Methodist choir. They were wearing nothing more than grass skirts. And with their hands raised above their heads, they were swaying their hips to the music of South Pacific. We all sang Bally High. We then stopped in front of the town hall, and the mayor came forward. He had a giant key in his hand. And then all fell silent. I heard this ringing, ring, ring, and I opened my eyes. And here was that Charlotte had set the alarm clock. I grabbed my lunch pail with the picture of the sperm whale on it and closed the door behind me. Later that evening, I met Charlotte at a cafe. We sat across from each other. We were eating kippers and drinking imported ales from glass schooners. We then turned and looked out the window together, across the Catasauqua Bay out to the ocean beyond. I told her of my dream. And when I finished, she started crying and weeping. And from her pocketbook, she procured a blue and white kerchief, a souvenir from a Wyoming rodeo. And then she blew her nose. When she gained her composure, she looked at me and pursed her lips, and she blubbered, "Nice save, Dave. I love you." And then we kissed. Peace.